gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the First and Interest Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Michael O'Brien, here with my fantastic co-hosts,
Aiden Florsher, and we're just very excited to be back. It's the second
episode. Second episode. We took a little longer than we expected, but you know what? Things come up, things happen. We're back. We're better than ever.
More content to share, honestly.
Exactly. We're waiting on everything to happen. Everything's going to fall into our lap, all right?
Yeah, it's whatever. So this week, I thought we came up and we thought it would be appropriate to start even dabbling in the football region.
Yeah, it's about that time for fantasy football, I feel like. Most drafts are like a month away.
Yeah.
It's
and
everyone's July
itching.
13th, July 14th?
Yeah, July 13th, I'd say.
So, yeah, a month away. Drafts will be going. Fantasy football season will be in full swing, so we decided we'll be early. Early bird gets the worm, as they say back in the day.
Yeah, we're just excited to get things going. I'm itching for
football. I'm itching for fantasy football. So we're going to talk about some sleepers we like, some breakouts for this year we think will happen, and some players that we think will bust. Like bust pretty bad.
For the 2022-2023 season, Michael, who are your sleepers?
Sleepers? All right, I'm going to start at the helm, quarterback.
Important position. People didn't know.
Yes. This is a real sleeper. This isn't I'm not going to say someone who's going is like, this is a sleeper.
Quarterbacks are interesting in fantasy. They could make or break your season, but they're
not
so
really.
Important. Yes, you can. Yes, they can. If you have Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes in a great season,
do you think Josh Allen is worth taking over like a really good wide receiver in like the third or fourth round? No.
He's probably equivalent.
No.
Yes.
I really don't think so.
Yes.
Bro, because you can get so many. You can always find a quarterback late. You can just take swings on quarterbacks late.
But Josh Allen's gonna give you 25 points.
You need like 15 points a week for your quarterback, and you'll be in play every week. I feel like.
But if you have 25, it can
obviously
set you over the edge.
For sure. But if you have a guy who's like around 15 on a decent day, he'll have games where he pops. That's fine.
100%.
You need an average quarterback. Last year, you could have gotten Stafford in like the 12th round.
Well, that's also they won the Super Bowl. That's a.
But he just wasn't going that high. Quarterbacks don't really go that. I just don't think it's worth going over like a higher level skill player.
Furthest I'd take quarterback is probably like 12th round.
Furthest. Yeah, I would probably like to target one around that, like 10 to 12.
Yeah.
Maybe a little earlier, depending on who's there.
If Kyler kind of falls into my lap in like 6, 7, I might have to.
That's fair, yeah, but that's a quarterback who's crazy rushing upside too, so that's reasonable.
Have a place in my heart because he's.
That's a good spot for him.
Yeah, that's a great spot for
compared to like I've done mocks where I see Allen going like the second. I think that's kind of high.
Allen Robinson.
Josh Allen.
Oh, trippy.
Yeah. Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, yeah. But that
Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen. Come on the podcast, please.
Of course, we'd love to. Bills, we'll smash some tables with you.
I'll jump through a flaming table in a banana hammock if you come on the podcast.
Drenched in beer.
Yeah. Also, I'll be 15 beers deep probably if that happens. So.
Yeah.
But back to the sleeper. We got a little off track there.
Who's people snoozing on this year?
Tua Tagovailoa.
Interesting.
It's a little bit of a deeper sleeper. If you want to wait on a quarterback really late, I think it's worth a shot.
With the acquisition of Tyreek Hill,
yeah, that's
that proves a lot of.
Howard, Hill and Waddle are going in the first 3 rounds, but Tua you can get in like the 13th.
100%, and who's throwing them all those balls?
Tua.
Exactly.
It's like there'll be some points there. He doesn't have to do anything. Part of this, I think, is Tyreek Hill will definitely help. I like Chase Edmonds there also. I think is a sneaky ad. I think is also kind of a sleeper, but I didn't have him as my running back sleeper. I think he's going way too late. Also, Mike McDaniel is a fantastic offensive coach coming from the 49ers.
And he the
49ers system.
He's such a young, weird guy.
Yeah, I think he might work, but who knows?
I don't know.
He's definitely smoking dubs on the sidelines before games.
He looks like a goofball.
He does look like a goofball, but he's like an offensive genius, which is great.
He couldn't even admit that Tua was like a great thrower or something. He was like, you can.
Because he's really not, but all he has to do is like be efficient.
At least,
which is why I like him.
Do a little white lie for your boy.
That's not
if that's your quarterback, gas him up a little bit.
It's not my quarterback. It's a sleeper quarterback. This is my quarterback.
I'm talking about Mike McDaniel to his quarterback.
Oh, that's fair.
I
thought you were coming at me on some beef.
No, I don't care about Tua at all. He could shit the bed, and I wouldn't give a fuck. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, there's a chance he does, but he's coming off the board as the 16th quarterback. That's not even a starting quarterback. average draft.
I wouldn't go. To be honest with you, bro, I wouldn't touch him with a 30,000-foot pole. I don't give a fuck, bro. Like,
Listen to these numbers. Here's some numbers.
Tua and the Dolphins.
I'm gonna hit you on some numbers.
Trash, bro.
He's one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL last year. They improved the offensive line a little bit.
Give me some of your.
He was first in the NFL in red zone completion percentage. All these stats are on playerprofiler.com. Shout out. These are the source for a lot of these stats. Shout out.
Yeah.
So if you want to fucking fact check me, go for it.
Or if you want to come and copyright this,
Yeah, player profiler. Come on the podcast, whoever owns you. He was 10th in pressured completion percentage, which I like. It's pretty nice. First in red zone completion percentage. Fourth in play action completion percentage.
How is he the first in red zone?
Because he's efficient. And all he has to do is fucking throw little drop-offs to Tyreek Hill, Waddle, and Chase Edmonds, and they'll score 20 points a game.
I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not going to...
It's a sleeper. It's a cheap quarterback. I'm not saying you should run out Tua as your starting quarterback.
If you want someone cheap...
Dimes?
No. Daniel Dimes is probably the most...
I'm on the Danny Dimes train until the wheels fall off.
We're not... Forget that hat, and forget we're Giants fans. Daniel Dimes being... What was it, the 17th ADP quarterback?
Not later. It was like 20, I think.
That is...
Let's pull it up. I think I got it right here.
Actually mind-boggling.
If the Wi-Fi works. No, I'm stuck on... Oh, there
honestly,
we go. Here we go.
Their team only increased. He's never been worse than, like...
Bro, he's the 28th quarterback by ADP. That's disgusting.
Name 27 quarterbacks right now you'd rather have than Daniel Jones.
How are Kenny Pickett and Jared Goff ahead of him in ADP?
Jared Goff?
Kenny Pickett's not even going to start week 1. Not a chance.
I think Jared Goff has a slight disability.
I think he's like kind of average, but I would not want him
I
in
wouldn't be
fantasy
surprised
at
if they
all.
came out in like 2 years and been like, he's been fighting an illness.
He's like an average quarterback. The Lions also didn't really have a good roster at all last year.
Bro, like...
I don't think that's not a quarterback I would ever take in fantasy.
He's not a quarterback I would take in fantasy. Two-hand touch league. I wouldn't take him in a, what's that thing?
Recreation?
Yeah, whatever.
Pickleball?
Pickleball. I wouldn't play handball with him out in the courts. He's a scumbag.
Jared Goff, if you want to come on the podcast even after that statement, please do.
All right, one of my sleepers officially.
Hit me with one.
Tyler Algier.
I like it. Atlanta Falcons,
rookie running back. Great size at 5'11", 220.
That's a thick running back.
Excellent vision. He's thick as...
Study the tape?
I sat there for like 30 minutes and studied some tape.
I like it.
He's got thighs that'll run like...
He's a big boy.
It's like almost like if you took Saquon and DK Metcalf and had a child.
That's a crazy statement, but I'll go with it.
That's what I'm thinking, man. So
Also,
he had a phenomenal season last year with 1,600 yards,
crazy.
23 touchdowns.
He also played at BYU, right? He's playing against a bunch of Mormons, probably.
Yeah, I mean, if
Sorry,
Zach
Mormons,
Wilson
that's offensive.
He's also a guy. As much as I hate to say it, I think he's gonna have a great year. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Wilson?
Yes.
I don't know.
We're getting off topic here. We're talking about BYU brothers.
You're right. I'm sorry. We love the Mormon community.
With the Falcons releasing Mike Davis, it proves a very significant role for Algier.
Uh-huh.
I mean, his only competition right now is Cordell Patterson, which we all know, 31 years old. He'll probably be more used in the receiving core.
For sure, no Ridley.
But, like,
London, it's London and a bunch of shit is their receiver room. That's it.
Exactly. And we all saw, like, last year, Cordell still has it.
Yeah, but he's also older. If he runs up on a turf the wrong way, yeah, he's kind of a gadget guy. But they didn't really give him that many touches. They gave him, like, 10 to 15 touches.
Fantasy-wise, he's pretty...
Oh, yeah, because he gets... Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure. I think he's worth the swing, but I think they're going to use Algier, however you say his name.
Algier? I don't want... Like, it's kind of like one of those names where you don't want to say it wrong. He might come at you, because he's definitely watching this podcast.
Yeah. Tyler.
I know your parents are Saquon Barkley and DK Metcalf.
Your father and... Who's the mother in that relationship?
Saquon. Nah, honestly, DK, because he's a bitch.
Nah, DK.
He
DK's
wears
cool.
he has the binky, bro.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's a little weird.
That's a little fruity.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
Nothing
wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with being fruity at all.
Nothing wrong with it.
Love who you love, man.
Exactly.
The former walk-on Algier holds the BYU record for most rushing yards in a single season, racking up 1,600 during his final year. He also paired this with a record amount of touchdowns, 23, leading
it's a lot of tutties.
FBS last season.
It's a lot of tutties.
So I'm kind of looking at this guy as
There's a good chance he has a significant role on a shitty team this year,
If you're in
which
like
is
a-
all you need in fantasy football.
And Falcons, like, they don't their running backs aren't the greatest statistically, but fantasy, I'm not gonna lie, they always come through with a decent, like, even Mike Davis last year.
But like he like was climbing up the boards. Everyone's like, "Yo, Mike Davis." He went kind of high in a lot of my drafts, but he wasn't that good at all.
Yeah. So Alger, don't reach on him. But if he's there in the later rounds,
You can
I
get
would
him
say,
you can get him really late. I feel like in a lot of leagues.
and I think he might pay back.
Where's he going? Let's see.
100%.
What's
He's
the
a-
ADP? Let's pull up the numbers.
He's almost a guaranteed payback.
I mean, yeah, he's going to outperform wherever he's being drafted in comparison to some of these other running backs. What is he? He's going off the board as like, what is it, ADP? Yeah. No, I'm on the wrong page. I'm sorry, folks at home.
Let's just get this going.
Whatever,
We
it doesn't
have
matter.
A lot of content.
Good point. We have a lot of content, but he's going super late. Like
Another
the 40th.
sleeper, Michael. I'm
Hit me.
very curious to hear your opinion on this one. Kareem Hunt.
Love it.
I know.
Not talking about him as one of mine, but I love it.
It's Chubb. I think Harambe.
Harambe? Kareem Harambe.
Yo, Mike.
What's up?
What's a running back sleeper for this
You want a
year's
running back
fantasy
sleeper?
season?
You want a running back
Yes.
sleeper? Dameon Pierce, Houston Texans rookie running back.
I think you'd have to scroll down a bit far on
Fantasy
yeah,
Pros.
Fantasy Pros to see that name.
Yeah, he goes off the board as the running back 49, which is deep. It's like I think his ADP is like 120, 130. That's deep in the draft. Most leagues, that's
That's like an hour
double
in.
digit. That's double digit rounds.
Yeah, that's
It's
an
at
hour.
least round 10.
Yeah.
I think if you could take him in, if you could get him in round 10, even like I feel like round 8, 9, I feel like he's gonna creep up
So
boards.
you start a draft at 9:00.
He's gonna creep up the boards as the season comes on because he has no competition. It's him, Marlon Mack, and Rex Burkhead. They took him in the third.
Rex Burkhead just somehow stays in the league, man.
Because he's like a decent scat back who's a veteran. Those guys stay in the league forever.
Back to Dameon Pierce.
But their brains will be mush in 2 years.
Yeah, he probably can't even spell the word fox without messing it up.
Last year at Florida, he only had 119 touches, which isn't that many. It's like 12 a game, total receptions and rushes.
Kind of like that. A lot of guys
I
wear
do kind
themselves
of like
out.
that. I kind of like that a little bit too. But that's a good amount of touches. He had like 700 something all-purpose yards, I believe, and he had 16 touchdowns on 119 touches total.
That's awesome. And like a lot of guys wear themselves out before the
Alvin
NFL.
Kamara didn't really have that many carries in college. I'm not trying to comp this guy to Alvin Kamara, but there are situations where that's good. Like a lot of, because like even Najee Harris, I feel like he's had so many carries the last couple of years between college.
Because he
And
played
the
like
NFL.
3 years in college, right?
Yeah, he was at Alabama for a little bit, but he wasn't the feature guy
I know.
fully.
But like he
Because
was
Josh
around for a
Jacobs
while.
was there, yeah.
But like, who would be your comp to him?
I really don't have a comp.
That's an active NFL player.
I believe Player Profiler, shout out again to Player Profiler, they do all like the workout shit and like I think they put statistics into their comps too a little bit. His comp was Wayne Gallman.
Excellent New
But
York
like that
Giant.
doesn't really mean anything to some extent. You can use it to spin a narrative when you're like Rashad Bateman's comparison to Stephon Diggs. I can use that to spin a narrative.
Yeah, but
You gotta take everything with a grain of
poor
salt.
guy probably
I really like him. 'Cause
looked
he's-
up his name on Google and saw Wayne Gallman and was like pretty upset.
Yeah. I just like him because he's going so deep in the draft and
He's an upside guy.
he's in a situation where he could just get a good amount of touches.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. 100%.
It's
Great
worth,
pick.
it's worth the swing super late as the running back 49, even as like running back 35, 40. I think that's a very good value pick.
Don't disagree with that, my man. For
Hit me with a receiver sleeper. Who do we got?
I always draft this guy in almost every league. People who play fantasy with me will attest to this.
Okay.
My man Tyler Boyd,
My dog. He's a stud.
the most underrated fantasy receiver
One of
in the
them.
league
I've had him on my
in
some
like
of
the
my
last
teams
5 years.
Yeah,
Like,
one of them. He always performed very well. He always overperforms where he's taken in the draft.
Yeah, when you're thinking of slot guys that you want to take, Tyler Boyd is probably number 2 at this point. I'm not taking Cole Beasley over.
Yeah, but like
I'm taking it's
like
Cup.
a true slot guy.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's Cup Boyd,
Yeah.
right?
I guess. Who else plays in the slot like that, though, really?
Nobody.
Because receivers move all over the field now,
But
I feel like.
he's honestly one of those guys who really does stay in the slot.
For
And
sure. But then that also means they have to run 3 wide receiver.
I know he's in a crowded receiving core, but
Mm-hmm.
with Higgins and Chase, but if, God forbid, one of those two get injured,
Don't want that to happen. That
No.
would suck for football.
it's great to have those two guys on the field. But
Mhm.
things happen, and in fantasy you have to kind of think about these things.
You have to have it in the back of your mind.
Yeah. So in 2 games last year when Higgins didn't play, Boyd was elevated to the wide receiver 2 and averaged
Obviously.
17 points per game and 9 targets. So, I
It's
mean,
a lot of production.
he's probably not going to have that for all 18 games of the season or 17, whatever it is.
No.
But he's going to average he's
He'll
going to get his
he'll
13.
have a good amount of double-digit games, I would assume, for where he's getting taken
He
in
averages
draft.
double digit, no doubt.
For sure.
But like he's going to have his 25. He'll have his 2 touchdowns.
Oh, he'll have a game where he gets in the end zone a couple times.
At 118 overall, he's basically free.
He
if
is
you
going
want him
off
for
the
a wide
board as
receiver.
a wide receiver 51.
Yeah.
ADP 124. That's pretty deep.
The hate has gone way too far.
It's not hate. It's just that's a crowded receiver room. But they fed all those mouths last year. I feel like it's still too deep.
That's what
for
I'm
him.
saying. It's not as deep as people think it is because Tyler Boyd is still Joey Burrow's one of his favorite targets.
It's a
Uzama's
safety
gone.
blanket. Yeah, Uzama gone is actually kind of low-key
It's
big.
huge.
Yeah.
Tyler
They'll
Boyd
probably
is
run a lot more 3 receiver sets.
3 receiver sets are honestly
Well, especially when you have that
they're one of the greatest
core.
sets.
Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you do it?
Cowboys when they had it with Wilson, Cedric Wilson, Lamb, Cooper.
Or even better, Gallup, Cooper.
Yeah,
Lamb.
but Gallup was injured.
Yeah, but what they had a little bit of Gallup, Cooper, Lamb, a little bit of that.
Yeah, wow.
Now I'm going to talk about a little wide receiver sleeper that there's definitely a little bias in this. I'm gonna lead, and I'm gonna use some stats to spin a narrative here. But I think the upside is definitely there, where he's going. Kadarius Toney is my favorite wide receiver sleeper this year, bar none.
Young Joka.
Young Joka is the greatest rapper athlete of all time.
Yeah, I mean he puts Dame Dollar.
He puts all of them to
He
shame.
puts Miles Bridges.
Shaq.
Who else has been out there?
I don't know,
think
Le'Veon Bell and AB.
Brian Scalabrine.
A lot of Brian Scalabrine dropped a mixtape. Brian Scalabrine.
Percathini.
But young Joka, he was hurt last year, and we have to keep that in mind because he is a little bit of a smaller guy, and there is a chance he gets hurt. He could be fragile, but we really don't know. It's 1 year.
Small frame.
Yeah,
Injury prone.
But the thing is, that's kind of the wave in the NFL now is just smaller frame wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean it's just the way it goes now, and with the way that the Giants are going, they're looking honestly for more of these guys to just.
Well, the Wandale
Catch and
pick,
go.
Wandale pick is kind of interesting too.
I know.
Talking Giants, but that's a different topic.
Especially with Tony, but with Dabble, you never know what the
Dable. Get his name right, goddammit.
Dabble.
Dabble.
He likes to dabble.
He likes to dabble in shifty wide receivers. I mean, look what he did with Josh Allen and the Bills, turned him to an electric quarterback. Not saying Daniel Jones is Josh Allen at all, but
I think Josh Allen's a little worse than Daniel Jones. If we're talking about pure talent,
probably.
it's just the situationally.
Yeah, for sure. But also, he's also going from a
Can't even
Jason
say that
Garrett.
with
Yeah, that's insane.
As much as I would
We might
love
have
to
to cut
believe
that.
that's not getting cut.
But definitely not. We're keeping it in there. He comes into a non-Jason Garrett offense, unlike last year, which is very good. That's already a plus, especially going to a guy like Dable. So I think just the offensive scheme changing is going to help him immediately.
Jones is gonna have more time to.
The offensive line is significantly improved. The offense as a whole, I think, will just be much better. And also, if Danny gets hurt again, Tyrod's there, so they haven't. We wouldn't have to watch.
Mike Glennon.
We're not gonna have to watch 8 games of Mike Glennon again.
Mike Glennon.
That was one of the most painful things I've ever had to watch in my life as a sports fan, if not the most painful.
God, his neck, bro. Just watching that shit sling. Like, that's probably the most dangerous thing on any field I've ever seen. That loose neck.
He has a pencil neck, dude. I hate that
Someone
guy.
hits that neck, it's amputee for the rest of the
I don't
season.
know how he had. Dave Gettleman gave him like $4 million to be our backup. He was such a clown, that guy.
I think I could have started over Glennon.
Probably. But let's get to some young Joka stats. Let's get like I said, we're gonna get a little
How
spin
many
zone here.
mixtapes were dropped over the past year?
I think he's dropped one. He's dropped a couple singles recently. They're honestly kind of good. He's a good rapper. Check out his music, bro.
That's awesome.
Receivers last year to average 2.2 yards per route ran and a 30% target share when active. Minimum of 50 targets last year. AB, who we know is very good but is a psychopath.
Mental patient.
Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, who we all know are elite tier wide receivers. Deontay Harris, who I have no idea how he's...
A.J. Brown.
Sure, we'll talk about that. Deontay Harris, don't know how he's on there. And Young Joka. So that's a pretty good group of wide receivers to be in, even though it is a spin zone. But he was 7th in the NFL in target rate last year when he played, 17th in yards per route ran. Like I said, he comes to a non-Jason Garrett offense. Automatic.
Upgrade.
Yeah.
Because
there's no way it can be as pathetic as it was last year. There's no way to go but up, literally. They scored like 8 points a game for the last 6 games of the year.
Andrew Thomas had as many touchdowns.
Well, now we have Thomas, Neal, Glowinski. We have an actual kind of offensive line, too. It's all about health. That's football in general.
That's football. That's how it goes. If you get lucky, you could have a great season. You could just get plagued by the injury bug at week 1.
And like we've been saying with the ADPs going off the board as the 43rd receiver. That's deep.
Yeah.
That's a dart throw in the later rounds who could really pop for you if he stays healthy and is in a better offense. Even if the Giants aren't really that good and Danny Jones isn't really that good. They could just give him 8 targets a game and he'll be fantasy relevant.
But I think the Giants are going to be a mid-tier team this year. I can't even say they're going to be a great team.
No, I think they'll be more competitive than they were last year. That's just a given.
I hope, man. They have to be more competitive.
There's just no way they're less competitive than they were last year.
That would be physically impossible. No, yeah. So I'm going with another running back here for my sleeper. It's not
sleepers.
It's not that much of a deep sleeper. It's more of a shallow one. But I think he's getting overlooked in a lot of drafts for his value.
For sure.
Not knocking, saying he's bad or he's any better than he was, or he's gonna have a better year. But for Ezekiel Elliott to be running back 17 is blasphemy.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I know his injury repertoire has been pretty tough.
But it hasn't really been. He missed 2 games a year maybe. Even if he misses 2 games, he's worth taking as a 17th. Even
100%.
Top 5, a 15th.
Mike McCarthy said he's looking healthy coming into the year, which is great.
I mean, what is he gonna say? He looks like a piece of shit.
I mean,
probably not. But
I'm taking it what I hear.
I'll take it.
It's his lowest ever ranking on the finishing rankings for running backs is 13.
Yeah, he's a beast.
So
as a Giants fan, I hate playing him all the time.
I know the Tony Pollard hype is
it's kind of real.
Too. It's real, but the way the NFL's going is two party.
They're gonna use both of them.
Yeah, no matter what. So Zeke is gonna probably get the goal line carries.
100%.
Get those points in fantasy, but
Pollard might be. If you're in a full point league, Pollard's a good target later. But Zeke's gonna get a lot of touchdowns, a lot of carries. I think he's definitely where he's going is crazy low,
ridiculously low. And can you name 16 better running backs? No.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
I'm not asking you to name him. That's just something to think about.
There's no way. 16 is a lot.
And another
He probably won't go off the board as the running back 17 in a lot of leagues.
But this is just what most of the stats
are
saying.
Yeah, we're just looking at the numbers right now. It is early, so these could change and shift. They will change and shift for certain players.
If you're looking for a first look into fantasy football this year, why not just
maybe we call some players who shoot up the boards.
Maybe we call some players who pull a Calvin Ridley and
throw an 8-leg parlay.
Yeah.
My last sleeper, I'm not going to talk about him too much because this is just a really a guy you can take for free in late rounds, backup tight end. I think it's a good dart throw.
Albert throw is useful.
Albert Aboyakam, I think you say it. Albert O on the Denver Broncos. I'm going to say Albert O.
We'll keep it simple there.
Albert O.
Mr. O.
So we know Russ is there now, which is a lot better than Drew Lock.
Broncos. Let's ride.
Let's ride, Broncos. O.J. Simpson. Let's talk about his physicals a little bit. He's a freak athlete.
Let me hear it.
100th percentile in speed score and 98th percentile in 40-yard dash, according to Player Profiler. So he's a freak athlete for the tight end position speed-wise. So elite speed. No Fent because he got traded to the Seahawks in the Russell deal.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to step in and probably be their starting tight end. And then what else do I got here? He was 15th in tight end yak after last year, even though he saw a 40% snap share. and he had like 33 catches, so he had like almost 8 yak every reception.
Wow. I'm not too sure, like...
So it's a kind of elite athlete who's in a situation where he could see a lot of playing time with a very good quarterback.
I'm not too, like, sure on the statistics on this, but I think Russell Wilson, like, favors the tight end pretty heavily.
He likes throwing to tight ends. Well, Seattle always ran a bunch of tight ends, too.
That's what I'm
He
saying.
likes throwing to his tight ends in the end.
And I don't think that's going to change either.
No. I don't think it is either. He's the 21st tight end off the board according to the ADP on Fantasy Pros. So that's just a cheap dart throw. That's, if you want a backup tight end, that's the guy you throw the
He
dart
could
at.
end up being your starting by the
He
end
could
of the
be.
year.
He very easily could be.
Could be like an Irv
If you
Smith
take a
Jr.
tight end high, if you go for a guy like Kelsey or Andrews high, that's a great guy to have as your backup. And if he pops, you use one of those guys as a trade piece or
Or
whatever.
you trade Kelsey, keep him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's up?
What's up? The Jewish
We're back.
Porzingis here. Hallelujah.
The Hebrew Hammer, Aiden Florsher.
And Mick Jenkins.
We're back. We're back with some breakouts this time. Not sleepers, breakouts. Legitimate breakouts.
People we think that would
Are
break
going to
out-
be impact players in fantasy
the
football
difference
this
between
season.
breakout and sleeper, we went a little bit higher up in the ADP and like
For sure.
a little younger in the age.
For sure. Every guy in my breakout is a second-year player.
Mine, I can't say the same thing, but they're breaking out.
They're breaking out. I like it. We're breaking out. So my first breakout is Trey Lance, San Francisco 49ers.
Excellent.
He's climbing up boards now, I've seen on Twitter, especially in like dynasty leagues.
As he should.
For sure. But his ADP is still, I think, 100-something. But that means he's probably like the 10th QB off the board. Fantasy Pros had him as QB 12, I believe. But let's say 10. But 100, pick 100. That's pretty late.
That's a steal, especially for a guy that I think
Is going to have massive rushing upside.
he had some crazy stat where it was like most of his throws were like for touchdowns last year. Even though I know it's a small
yeah.
sample size, but
And
still.
they were also running him in like he played like he had like 1 or 2
It's still
starts last
sick.
year. But let's get into some numbers now. A little bit of numbies.
Got it.
As a rookie, he posted the 3rd highest fantasy points per dropback since 2011. Again, small sample size,
Yes.
but when he was in, he produced. Also, this is from Alex Caruso on Twitter, a fantasy football guy, not the NBA legend Alex Caruso. Shout out
White
Alex
Jesus.
Caruso. 92% of the QBs that have gotten 125 rushing attempts have finished in the top 10. So that means 17 games. Let's say 16 games. That's probably like he has to probably get around like 8 to 9 a game.
Wait, say that again? I missed it completely.
92% of quarterbacks that have since 2011. No, I'm bugged. Not since 2011. All time. 90% of QBs that have 125 or more rushing attempts have finished in the top 10 in fantasy points for quarterbacks.
That's interesting because
That means he has to get like 8 or 9 carries a game on the ground on average, which there's a chance it could happen
I mean he has the legs for it.
for sure. If they're starting him full time, we'll probably. I think his floor, if he's starting full time, is like 5. 4.
5 rushing touchdowns.
No, like attempts a game.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. He'll probably.
He has crazy rushing upside. I mean, you watch his college tape. He's a freak athlete. He also has crazy weapons. The Shanahan offense always carries quarterbacks.
always
They
helps.
made Nick Mullen look good. Jimmy Garoppolo. They dragged Jimmy Garoppolo to the Super Bowl.
Jimmy Garoppolo. Don't get me started on that piece of shit, bro.
Yeah, he's
The most
kind of
overrated
stinks. Yeah, he stinks.
quarterback of all time.
Thrown
And
to-
people will stand up for him. Oh, he wins! He wins!
Yeah, because he's on a sick team. One of the
don't
best
care.
rosters in the league, dude.
The only thing that guy
You
has.
can put me
going
back
for
there.
him-
I'm handing it off half the time.
He got with a porn star. You know that?
Yeah, he's a stud. He's a stud off the field, but he's not a good quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you,
He's throwing to Kittle, Ayuk, Debo. Like he has there's legitimate weapons. Mitchell out of the backfield. They spent a 3rd-round pick on a running back out of LSU, Tyron Davis-Price. So and the Niners always produce a rushing offense with Shanahan there.
definitely.
The offense will be there
They spread the ball
regardless.
too there too.
Jimmy
so.
Garoppolo made all these guys incredibly fantasy relevant. I think Trey Lance will make them even more fantasy relevant, and he himself will be very fantasy relevant. A bold hot take. I'm gonna call it right now. He will finish this year as a top 5 quarterback in fantasy, easily.
That would make a lot of people angry.
I think easily. Who else has the rushing upside of him outside of like it's Lamar, Hurts, Kyler Murray. Who else
Nobody.
has rushing
Daniel
upside?
Jones. Like he's the
It's a
fastest.
sneaky rushing upside. But do you think the Giants are going to run him that much coming off a neck injury last year? Probably not.
Definitely not. But I'm just thinking of runners. Herbert's an overrated runner.
Herbert doesn't run for that much. No, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Sneak peek.
I can't even think of much people like.
It's like Hurts, Lamar,
Yeah, that's
Kyler Murray are like the Russian quarterbacks, and Lance is that type of prototype. So where he's going in drafts, he's gonna climb up. I think he's like a good pick in like even like in a 12-team league, like round 7, 8. I think
Really?
he's worth it. I think it's worth a swing.
If you say so.
But if you're doing that, I would take a backup quarterback late. Swing on someone late. So
Have a little insurance.
if he isn't good, you have something. And honestly, you can kind of stream quarterbacks throughout the season, I feel like.
I've done it, but it's never really given
not
me much
great.
luck.
But
It's
we're saying
stressful.
breakouts. I think he will be an incredibly impactful player in fantasy football this year.
Don't disagree. I think that I was on him last year, to be honest. But
I was
drafted
too.
him
I
too,
took him
but
I took him in like my auction league for $1, but he didn't play at all.
It's okay. This year,
I'm on him again.
don't disappoint. So
Probably be on him again next year.
for my first breakout, I went with a rookie, Sky Moore.
Love it.
I think any wide receiver in the Kansas City Chiefs offense has the potential to be phenomenal.
Exactly. They spent a high draft capital on him.
Checks all the boxes needed to be a breakout.
For sure.
I mean, great quarterback offense scheme.
Good athlete.
Opportunities
High
there.
draft capital
Physical
invested into
abilities
him.
there.
Who else is in their receiver room? Juju on a prove-it deal and Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Don't like
It's not like
Juju.
there's a good chance he finishes the year as their wide receiver 1.
I could honestly
Obviously
that's a
can't-
good bet.
Probably.
Like if Vegas put those odds out there
Well, who finishes with more fantasy points, him, Juju, or MVS? I would take Sky Moore all day.
at plus odds too,
It
like
probably wouldn't be. It would probably be pretty close to even with him and Juju. I feel like.
I don't think so.
Nah. I don't think people who know football are like not hip to who Sky Moore is, but maybe not. I
Yeah.
could be wrong.
Honestly, in the post Tyreek Hill era, I think he has a
That's
chance to
huge
flourish,
too.
man.
100%. Well, they felt comfortable enough to trade him, and they drafted a guy in the second round to, I guess, not really replace him. You can't replace
You
that
can't
type.
replace him, but you know what? He could do something else.
He could produce
entirely.
incredibly well.
Yeah.
So
And honestly, when you
Andy Reid,
when
great
you
offensive
still have,
coach.
when you have Travis Kelce, and I mean, as much as Juju is a meme and all the
But
TikTok
Juju would
shit,
probably be more in the. I don't. But are they gonna run him on the outside? Really? I don't
Probably
know.
not.
But like Sky Moore's kind of a slot guy too. Juju was kind of a slot guy in Pittsburgh. I feel like
it's we all know
no numbers to back this up. But
Valdez
Just what
Scantling
I've seen.
is probably gonna.
suck. He's not good.
He's only good when Rodgers is around and can throw him a 30-yard bomb for one touchdown.
Right in his milk basket.
Yeah. I mean, who do you got next in the breakout
I got a
section?
nice running back breakout here for you.
Let me hear it.
Travis Etienne Jr.
Ooh, after that big injury, you think he's gonna bounce back?
For sure. I mean, not really a high ADP. It's like 50-ish, I believe. Coming off the board as a 22nd back.
Uh-huh.
I think he finishes inside the top 20. I think he'll outperform that ADP easily.
The Jaguars are an interesting team because
Doug Peterson's an actual coach. They don't have an idiot running the show.
my only backfire to that would be they spent a shit ton
their
of money
front
on
office
their
is still
receiver
horrendous.
core.
Their front office is still
So,
horrendous.
I don't know how they put a lot of time and effort into scheming their running backs.
But
Where
ETN has
I'm not
crazy
saying-
reception upside.
I'm not saying he doesn't. What I'm saying is they spent a lot of money this offseason on receivers, so I think they're going to want to get their production out of them
Obviously.
and their targets.
But let's go through their weapons. They also lost Shark. So what are their weapons? Receiver-wise, it's Marvin Jones,
But you
Chenault,
also- it's not
Christian
like-
Kirk.
It's not like
no
they,
one that good.
It's not like
Evan
they
Ingram.
have a gunslinger either.
T-Law will be good this year, I think.
He's overrated, man. I think he's going to be
He
one
might
of
be
those
overrated.
busts.
I don't think he's going to be one of those busts.
I think he is, man.
I can't say that after the situation he was thrown into last year.
I mean, yeah, Urban Meyer, he was touching girls.
Yeah,
or
he was
women.
he was like finger banging like barely legal chicks at a bar in Ohio State and got caught on camera.
Dude, I can't even believe that, bro.
Like in the middle
That's
of the bar.
so fucked
the
up,
video is
bro.
so funny. He's like grinding on her. He's like, eh. He's like, they just lost
While
Thursday
they're-
night football.
yeah,
like
while they're
38-5.
0-8.
Yeah, they had
Their
a couple of-
generational quarterback is leading the league in fumbles.
Yeah, they had the most generational QB prospect since Luck, and they were like 0-9. Beyond that, let's talk about Travis Etienne. Why I like him as a breakout.
Beyond
this year.
Urban Meyer and his pedophilia.
Borderline. One of 6 running backs ever with a 99 next-gen athleticism score, NFL next-gen.
Holy
The other 5, Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Melvin Gordon.
Holy shit.
So who have all been fantasy absolute studs at some point in their career. And honestly, most of them still are, except Todd Gurley, who is probably in a nursing home right now. But James Robinson, you're going to say, James Robinson, oh, he's still there. Not really for the beginning of the year, probably, because
got that injury.
he tore his Achilles in week 16, I think.
But I think also
And that usually takes 9 to 12 months. And 9 to 12 months, maybe he'll be back for like week 3, 4, but even there.
he's going to get his touches, though. The only reason he didn't get his touches in the beginning of last season was because Urban Meyer did not like him.
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Even though I don't think Doug Peterson is like the greatest coach, he's definitely better than Urban Meyer by a lot.
100%. It's
Guys
not even a question.
Guys have thrived in his offense. So T-Law's second year, maybe not under an idiot will be good. Lots of PPR upside, I feel like. So he had his last year at Clemson, he had a 12.2% target share. So he accounted as a running back 12% of the targets in the passing game.
Wow.
With Trevor Lawrence, don't forget that too.
That's a pretty heavy chunk.
For a running back, it's an incredibly heavy chunk.
So there's
crazy upside. There is a lot of upside there because they're going to use him all over the field. They're going to use him as a receiver a lot. He never had less than 13 total touchdowns a season in his 4 years at Clemson, and outside of his freshman year, he never went under 1,500 total yards.
So he just produces.
He's a goon.
He chugs up yards.
He's a goon.
Yeah, that's what you want in fantasy. That's what you look for. And to be honest with you, I'm really not expecting the Jaguars to have the worst season because Kirk is not horrible.
He's decent.
Who else? Do they
Evan
have?
Ingram, Zay Jones.
Zay Jones.
Their receiver room is a bunch of like decent wide receiver too. So like, are any of those guys really going to break out in any big way? More than likely, no.
Probably not. But they probably will perform at a high level.
Yeah, it'll be spread around though. I don't think any of those guys are really going to be like fantasy relevant.
No, but just talking football.
For sure.
They'll probably.
You don't have to be on a good team to be good in fantasy though.
Yeah. No.
So,
sometimes. Sometimes.
Not really. I don't think it really matters that much.
I think for
if you're
positionally,
if you don't want a QB on a shitty team.
I don't. And running back, man.
No, running back. All that matters is how many times you're touching the ball.
But like, when you have a running back on a shitty team that like.
Obviously, you don't want the offensive line to be like the Giants last year.
Exactly.
You got to, but at the same time, that you can get really good production on someone who's on a dog water team.
So,
hit me with your next breakout.
Going off your breakout, Breece Hall is also one of those 6 running backs.
So
that
he would be
have
7.
A 99 grade.
He would be 7. It would be ETN, Gurley, Chubb, Saquon, Taylor, Melvin Gordon, then Breece Hall.
He's one of the 6 running backs ever.
That must be a. We must have read that wrong. Whatever. He must be the 7th. Beyond that, he has a 99 athleticism score on NFL Next Gen.
Ridiculous.
As we said, we mentioned the class that was in before.
Superhero.
He's a superhero.
And it's like he's a Jet again.
Like we said, you can be on a shitty team and still be fantasy relevant.
Oh yeah, I mean, I honestly think that there's reasons to believe the Jets are going to use a committee with Michael Carter.
Nah.
But yo, listen to this. I have stats to back.
I have no reason to believe that they're going to do that.
Just let me finish.
They traded up for him.
There's reasons to believe it because Michael Carter had, I think he had a 33% production share last year.
Oh yeah, because they used Ty Johnson and what was his name, Tevin Coleman, a decent amount.
So, and I think that they drafted him and he was like the first running back drafted in 2022, and
he was.
Always repeats itself, and in the last 22 years, the first running back has been typically like the bell cow guy.
Yeah, if you're investing as the first running back off the board, you're not going to put him in a committee with Ty Johnson and 4th round picks.
Michael Carter is a great talent.
He's a
kind of
I
like
wouldn't say great, good talent. He's a good.
I think he's better than you think
back.
he is.
I think he's good.
He had a great season last year.
I just don't think he's really going to impact. I like Hall a lot. I don't think he's going to really eat into Hall's production that much.
But if you're a Jets fan, you must be happy with Breece Hall and Michael Carter as your 2 backs.
Oh, for sure.
Because they're probably their best.
For sure.
That's like their best backfield, and
it's one of the best backfields in the league. Yeah.
No, for them
potentially
in a while.
Potentially.
For them, it's been like a while since they've had a better backfield.
They haven't had that good of a backfield since they made the playoffs.
Yeah, for real.
I'm gonna hit you with another breakout. Rashad Bateman, Baltimore Ravens, a wide receiver.
Another guy I looked highly into last year also.
Yes, I did too, but he was hurt a little bit in the beginning of last year, and I kind of stayed away from him.
And Marquise Brown obviously took some of his fame.
And that's why I do like Bateman a lot, because Brown's not there anymore. He's playing on an offense. If you look at Sammy Watkins and Hollywood Brown, who are both no longer there, It's 115 targets gone between the two of them.
Wow.
So that's 45% of their total targets, including 38% of their targets inside the 10-yard line.
And what he did in college, I could see
He was
him
a freak in
translating it
college.
very nicely
sure.
over.
So, right, that's a lot. Hollywood Brown finishes the 25th receiver last year with 5 games without Lamar. So I don't get, like, Lamar hate personally. I feel like a lot of people think you can't really support a receiver. Hollywood, with a full season of Lamar, was an easy top 20 fantasy receiver.
I mean, yeah, they just scheme. They have to scheme
And
around
Hollywood would just
Lamar.
drop wide open touchdowns sometimes.
Yeah, he had Butterfingers last year heavily.
Yes. So
Bateman was hurt. Mark Andrews was very solid throughout the year.
Mark Andrews was amazing last year.
And then besides that, their receiving core is
Their receiving core now, it's Bateman and, like, Devin Duvernay.
which he might not even be.
Bateman's the
on
clear
yeah,
wide receiver one in that offense now.
clear.
So his ADP is 55, which is a little high, but not really. It's the 26th receiver by ADP. I'll bet all the money I have, which isn't a lot at all, that he finishes within the top 20.
No doubt, I'll bet that with you.
All right, let's hammer it.
Because like
I think he can finish like top 15, honestly, pretty easily. Not easily, but I think he'll be in that range without question.
if the Baltimore Ravens are explosive like they usually are, and they're
They
having a great
definitely
season,
always are.
yeah, there is no reason in hell that that Bateman should have a bad season and he should be
No.
over at the top 20.
Bateman also profiles out incredibly well.
100%.
His player comp, like we said before, on Player Profiler. Shout out, Player Profiler. Stephon Diggs. Like we said, we got to take it with a grain of salt. But that's not a bad comp.
That's a great comp. He's one of the greatest
It's a pretty good comp, I'd say. One
wide
of the best
receivers
receivers in the
we've
league.
this year and like the last 10 years.
Let's go. Who's your last breakout?
I got one last guy. I don't have too much to say about him, but it's more of like late
breakout?
Late.
So kind of a mix between a sleeper and a breakout, I guess you
Yeah.
could say.
But I could actually see him being a big name by the end. Like,
Okay.
I could see him going from like maybe 7% roster to like 65 by the end of the year.
Okay.
Maybe more, honestly, possibly like 80. Jalen Tolbert,
Love it.
undrafted wide
It's a
receiver
deep sleeper.
out of South Alabama, goes to a destroyed Dallas Cowboys wide receiving core, and he's guaranteed to start week 1 because of
At least
Gallup's
more than
injury.
likely be at least their 3.
Yeah, I mean, if you need a starter week 1, if you're scouring, Jalen Tolbert might be your guy.
Might be an option on the waiver.
Look up his highlights. He's a beast.
Yeah, he is a beast.
He's a fun guy
Put
to
up
look
crazy
up,
numbers
for sure.
at South Alabama.
I know South Alabama isn't the most prestigious.
The Cowboys
college.
always draft wide receivers pretty well too.
Yes, historically,
Yes.
their wide receiving core. I don't know.
It's
if maybe
always
they have
good. They always have a good wide receiver
I don't know
core.
if their like wide receiving coach is good or whatnot, but they just
Probably is. They've developed good receivers over the years.
yeah, 100%. You got a last one or no?
I'll talk about this guy a little bit. I don't think I really need to talk about him too much because I think everyone kind of is on him a little bit to some extent. Kyle Pitts.
Oh yeah, I mean, he could be
the tight end 1 this year.
he could be tight end 1, but he could also be like tight end 25.
I don't think so.
You don't think?
No. Here's why. Let me explain.
Hit me.
Last year he was a tight end 6. Obviously, he's a crazy talent, like the highest drafted tight end ever, I believe, with number 4 overall. And you could say, oh, Matt Ryan's gone now. It's Marcus Mariota. Let's look at early in Mariota's career when he was in Tennessee. He supported 2015 tight end 4 season from Delaney Walker. 2016, a tight end 5 season from Delaney Walker, who was our tight end at the time. And 2017, a tight end 7 season from Delaney Walker.
Wow. So and Delaney Walker
Great tight end, but is nowhere near the talent that Pitts is.
doesn't have the speed nor the hands, I'd say.
No, none. He's not. He's just not
The only thing he had.
He's just not the
yeah,
level of
Bills.
player Pitts is.
It's that they're two different archetypes of tight ends.
Yes,
but
100%. Pitts last year had 102 targets, even with Ridley playing for a decent amount of the year, right? Now Ridley's gone the whole year. They have a rookie as their wide receiver 1, who I think will be good in Drake London, but there's still a lot of targets up. He was second in tight ends amongst air yards last year.
Wow.
Was only 11th in catchable target rate.
That's impressive, honestly.
Yes, he had 68 last year. He had 68 catches for 1,026 yards, 15.1 yards a catch as a tight end
They
is
were also
nutty.
dog shit last year, the Falcons.
They're gonna be dog shit again this year, but they're gonna give Kyle Pitts like 150 targets.
That would be great. Everyone would love to see that.
That'd be awesome. He only had 1 touchdown last year, which is not great, But there has to be some regression to the mean there, especially with how the offense is going to look this year. He's going to be their feature guy, clearly. And then if you give him 3 more touchdowns last year, finishes with 4 touchdowns, not a lot. He's tied with Kittle as the 3rd tight end in fantasy last year.
That's great.
On the numbers he put up last year.
Yeah.
So if we expect those to go up a little bit, we'll expect touchdowns to go up a little bit. I think this is a guy that can finish the year as the number 1 tight end in all of fantasy football.
That's awesome, man. I honestly agree with you for sure. There's no doubt in my mind that in any case, he goes down to past 25 tight end.
What do you mean?
Like I said before, I think he could bust heavily.
If he gets
Personally.
Okay. That's fine.
I just think the Falcons are so dog shit.
Yeah, that's probably why he could bust.
That I think that.
But I just think the talent's too relevant to just.
I think their running game's gonna
They
excel.
were shit. Their offense was shit last year, and they made Patterson and Kyle Pitts fantasy relevant. So
Yeah, you're right.
I think it'll happen again. Mariota, like we said, likes to feed his tight ends. I think Pitts will have a monster season this year.
Just some food for thought for you guys.
We're back yet again.
Back and more beautiful.
Back and better than ever. With our new sponsor.
Wow, it was really impressive when they hit us.
I was surprised when we got the email.
They're in almost every 7-Eleven, Rite Aid.
They're everywhere. You see these things everywhere. We got our Trojan condom busts of the year.
Yeah, so basically guys that...
The package is on the way. We got a pallet of them coming. That just hasn't come in yet.
So hit us up in the DMs if you need any...
Obviously, we encourage
Trojans.
safe sex.
Yes, especially protected sex.
Yes.
Protecting STIs, STDs.
Yes, obviously. You want to be healthy.
Yeah. Abstinence is the best...
It's the only way to prevent them, I guess, right?
That's what I'm saying. So the busts of this fantasy year are very interesting to me, man.
Who's busting? Tell me who's busting.
This one is just so fun to say to me because
I love it, too. I see it on your screen. I love it.
Hate Philly fans.
The worst.
Probably the worst scum of the human beings there are.
Worst fan base. Eagles fans are probably the worst fan base.
That
all
guy,
sports collectively.
The guy with the black and the green, the mohawk.
Yeah, they're weenies.
They're so funny, bro.
You let me go to the Birds game, Lou.
I love Sirianni.
Back on track.
Back on
Who's
track.
busting on the Eagles?
Trojans' big bust of the year, big bust, is big A.J. Brown.
Okay. I like it.
A lot of people have him as a top 5 receiver.
That's crazy.
I would say you're talking out of your ass.
Also, I like Jalen Hurts as a fantasy quarterback, but he's not that great at throwing the football.
You like him on the running aspect
Obviously.
side of it, yeah.
He's a good quarterback, but I don't think I would invest that high of a pick in a receiver that he's throwing to.
The first reason
that has had injury history the last couple years.
The first reason I would say yes, his injuries have been all over the board, and he regressed in the quarterback from last year, in my opinion.
Tannehill wasn't that great last year.
For throwing wise, I honestly think Tannehill is a
Hurts,
better quarterback than Hurts, no doubt about it. Fantasy wise, no.
It's
Football
probably
actually,
closer than
yes.
you'd think, but
yes.
sure,
yes.
it's not much of a difference at all.
Last
it's
year,
still not a great quarterback.
Dude, last year with Jalen Hurts at quarterback, the Eagles finished dead last in pass plays.
Well, now they have 2 actual receivers. He'll definitely go up, but there's just too many red flags there for me, man, to invest that high of a pick on him.
Dude, I think he will probably have more completion targets to him this year. I will say that. But I do not think
if he stays healthy, he'll be good, but he just hasn't been healthy the last couple of years. I took him high in my auction league last year. I spent $30-something bucks on him.
I know. I mean,
took him as my receiver one. I traded him.
And all the Eagles fans are like, "Yo, we got A.J. Brown."
Well, they gave him a fat contract too, but
yeah. Have fun with that shit.
Just a little bit. Where he's going is a little bit too rich for me, I think.
Yeah, I have a stat that'll probably blow your socks off.
Hit it.
In 13 games last year, Brown averaged 8.3 yards per target, the same as former teammates.
Low, right? Is that pretty low?
Yeah.
Okay.
Corey Davis, Mecole Hardman, Marquise Callaway. And if you're putting these guys in the same category,
some
you
of that
put
is
A.J.
Tannehill
Brown.
and the system the Titans ran, but it's not great either.
It still looks more on his teammates, though. It's I think he probably just needs Jalen Hurts.
You gotta look at it both ways. We just trash the Eagles. We gotta be fair and balanced. We're a fair and balanced sports podcast.
Jalen Hurts only averaged 200 something passing yards a game last year.
Yeah, A.J. Brown will help that though. Their second receiver was what? Quez Watkins.
Yeah, but I'm not sold on it, man.
I'm not sold on the Eagles completely
For him
either.
to be a top wide receiver off the board is
But they'll probably
bullshit.
AJ Brown will probably have 1,500 yards and make me want to cry.
I don't think
now
he
that we're
will.
okay.
He has to play the Giants twice a year.
I can't wait until they play. They play late in the season again. I looked at the schedule. It's always great.
They play like
They stack NFC East games late in the year always.
I love
It's
nice
awesome.
cold.
I love a cold matchup of some 5 and 12 teams.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like who's gonna go to the playoffs with
Who's
negative
picking
record?
8th or 11th? All right, my bust.
Who's busting for your Trojans?
All right, I'm gonna talk about a QB who I think I'm not gonna like. I hate to put the word bust on him because he's not. I think he's an amazing quarterback in real life, but fantasy where he's going this year, Justin Herbert,
Super overrated.
I think will bust in fantasy terms this year. He's going as the QB2 behind Allen, which is honestly insane. That's insane to me.
Who's their receiving core besides?
It's Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, which is good. But then
Mike
Eckler,
Williams
they
is
have
a
good. They have a
fan.
good offense. They put up a lot of points last year. But would you take him over Mahomes, Lamar Jackson?
I'm not
Kyler.
touching Mahomes with
Uh,
a
I-
10-foot pole.
Herbert's ADP is 44. That's like over a lot of good like skill position players too.
Yeah,
See, I just think waiting on QB a little bit is the play always in fantasy
Yeah, you're big into that. You're always like last.
because you
pick.
can always not even last pick. It depends on who's there. I'll take a QB if it's a spot I like,
Mhm.
but I don't like taking a QB like the first 5 rounds usually.
I've done it in years past.
I haven't. It doesn't usually work out that well.
I've taken, I think, Lamar.
Like when I
I've
first started playing fantasy football, I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Yo, Tom Brady."
But
Like, fuck.
I've actually won a league one time, taking Aaron Rodgers back in the day when he was MVP.
Yeah, sometimes you can get lucky. It
was the
happens.
craziest shit.
If you hit
it
on
might have
other
been, like,
picks.
the scoring,
You don't lose your fantasy draft in the first 3 rounds.
but you also don't.
Well, you don't. I
technically
should
win.
say you don't win your fantasy draft in the
Yeah.
first 3 rounds, but you can lose it if you just whiff.
If
So
you draft stinkers.
if you want to win, you have to hit after round 5 and 6 on a couple guys.
And that's tougher than it looks.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Because
Because at
a lot of the
some point
times-
it's just dart throws and you're praying.
a lot of the times the big name guys that have been low in production are out there, and you kind of want to just go with the name you know.
I'd rather go with a young dude
But
all day,
I'm talking about the general
especially in
public.
football.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, people, I would say most likely would be like, okay, let me go with Chris Godwin over a new upcoming
Godwin's
guy.
coming off an ACL too,
Yeah,
bro.
but, like, Godwin is just a guy that, like, has been great in fantasy in the past that I could see people
Great
being high on
receiver.
him.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to have a great year.
All right, hit me with another bus.
This is a guy that I love. I think he's a good running back. I think
He
just
definitely
the
is.
situation has been kind of rough for him the past few years.
I don't know, he's might be like the most confusing player in fantasy football to me. this
Because I do like him. I'm not
year.
gonna.
I think he's a good back.
He's not a do not draft. I just think
I don't. It's
he's
an interesting one.
he's very like. How can I put this?
There's a lot of mouths to feed there now.
A lot of
If your catchers are
so
hits.
the pick would be Josh Jacobs. I mean,
Okay.
they hired former Patriots offensive
I
coordinator
forgot they
McDaniels.
did that. I'm sure that'll go over
And
well.
he's regularly deployed committee backfields.
Who else is there? Kenyon Drake and Zamir White.
Listen to this. They have Kenyon Drake, Brandon Bolden, Amir Abdullah, Zamir White, and
That's
James Cook.
that's such a not James Cook. James Cook went to the Bills. Zamir White and James Cook played together at Georgia.
Oh, I'm saying I read that. I read
It's
that
all
completely
good.
wrong. They said they used
Honest
their
mistake.
second pick
Honest
for
mistake.
Zamir White. Okay, but that's still an absurd amount of running backs for a.
I'm sure one of them will be cut like Abdullah. Did Abdullah? What, 1 year,
They
small? Yeah, Abdullah's going to get cut, bro. He's like 80 years old and hasn't been good.
Yeah, Dre's 100%. They signed Brandon Bolden to 2 years, so he's
2.4 mil guaranteed, yeah.
Amir,
Brett-
1 year contract. He's not getting
There's also a
cut.
Patriots connection there with McDaniel.
And Zamir White they just drafted him. He's not going to get cut. So it's honestly looking like they're going in with.
Kenyon Drake has a lot of money on his deal, too, I think, from the old regime they had.
I think they restructured it.
Probably because it was bad.
They definitely did it. They definitely did.
Okay.
So, yeah, Josh Jacobs, a guy I'd draft 6th round and be happy. Maybe 7th.
I would say like 5-ish. Late 5. I don't. There's a lot of players on
You're
that would
telling
be
me
there. I just
there's a
wouldn't
lot
take
of
him over a
players.
lot of guys. It just obviously when
It would have to be perfect for me to take him.
Yeah, he'd have to just fall into my lap somewhere ridiculous, probably, for me to like go after him.
And with what's his name? With Devontae Adams coming into the mix,
And you have
Waller
if he stays healthy, Renfro.
It's a lot of mouths to feed,
Yes.
and
If they run
Josh
a
Jacobs
committee.
has been on the decline for the past.
Yeah,
3
they
years.
declined his option too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
that's not
maybe
great.
he is playing for a contract, no, right? For somewhere.
Yeah,
prove
but
it.
if you have if you take a running back like that in the fourth and restructure a horrible running back contract and give another one $2.4 million guaranteed, you're gonna use like 2 or 3 running backs probably.
Yeah, you're right. They're definitely gonna use. At
Jacobs
least
is on a
3, it
first
seems.
round contract. That's a lot of that's a lot of money committed to a running back room.
Yeah, they have probably a lot of money invested in the wide receiving core.
Oh yeah,
now.
they gave Devontae Adams bread. I think they signed Waller not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken.
And they have a lot of money in Carr.
Yeah.
That team honestly can't make a lot of
That
moves.
team's either going to be 13-3 or 8-9. I have no idea.
I'm honestly hoping for 13-3. I love the
I'm
Ravens.
interested to see
Derek
how they
Carr's
play.
the homie.
They're such a wild card this year. I really don't know.
Derek Carr's the homie, man.
I think Derek Carr is kind of the homie too. I think he's mad underrated.
And he's been the most unlucky guy in the sport because
Oh yeah, he got drafted to the Raiders. That's one of the worst things that can happen to you.
his best receiver left him. He got hurt in his MVP year.
He's always had rotating receivers. They trade away Cooper.
Last year with that tie shit. Remember that in the last game? Like he of course got into that bullshit.
Oh
game.
yeah. And
Like, bro can't catch a break, man. I just want to see him in the playoffs and winning.
yeah, I agree.
All right, let's hear.
I'm gonna hit another bus right now.
You're gonna
A little
do
bum
another
on the bus. Debo Samuel.
Oof. That's gonna grind a little.
This
gears.
might grind some gears.
I mean, he is.
But
Kind of
I
a
just think
dick.
no. I think that situation could get a little funky.
Yes.
First
There's
off,
no doubt in my mind that situation goes a little south because
it could. It's not. Yeah,
the
just
team
some of the
chemistry
things.
after
But still, they have good, decent receivers outside of that. Ayuk. I like Ayuk where he's going in fantasy this year.
Ayuk's also another guy.
Well,
that
even
we
if
love.
Debo's there, right? It's kind of hard to replicate what he did last year, and I think they're probably going to limit him on how many carries they give him out of the backfield.
Yeah, it's going to be almost impossible.
Like
for
his
him to
rushing upside is what
recreate
made
that.
him so ridiculous in fantasy last year.
What is he, the 6th wide receiver this year, supposedly?
His ADP is 15. And he's the 6th wide receiver off
Yeah,
the board
6th
on
wide
average.
So it's like.
I mean, just considering the guys that go like 25 to 45,
Yeah. So who's better, Justin, Jeff,
like
Diggs?
Cup, I would take Diggs over Debo Samuel.
Me too.
I would probably take Devontae Adams over Debo Samuel.
100%.
Who else? Let's see. Let's look at the list.
But then
Let's pull it up.
he kind of like.
Let's pull up
he's
the sheet.
in that range though.
But like, I would rather have Hill honestly.
I'd rather have.
Yeah, but like 15th ADP with like if there's a decent back on the board.
No,
and
it's
with how deep receiver
100%.
is.
I agree with you.
I think
because
that's a little rich. I don't think he'll be bad. I just think he'll be worse than what he is drafted at, I should say. I think he's going to lose some of the rushing volume if Lance plays too.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
for sure.
And don't they have McKinnon still?
I don't know, but they drafted, it's like you said, Tyron Davis-Price in the 3rd. They always drafted running back every year. Sermon's still there. Mitchell's still there.
Sermon.
They have like 3 or 4 running backs still that they have a decent amount of capital invested into in the draft. And they always run a couple backs.
Yeah.
And if
He's going to get his
they're
touches.
going to run Lance too.
Yeah, he's going to get his touches. Probably not as many as last year.
No way.
But I think he's going to get 3,
He will,
4 touches.
but nowhere near as much as it was
You don't
last
think he's
year.
going to get 3 touches a game?
What, rushing?
Yeah. Obvi. That's what.
On average, how many carries? I don't. Well, I'd say around that, honestly. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I have to pull up more numbers on that, but I just think it's a little high considering some of the other receivers and running backs you could take there.
Totally
at that
agree.
spot.
For my last bust,
Who we busting with?
I'm going with a surprise here.
Surprise bust?
I don't think the kicker position gets talked about enough. I think
It's an important position in fantasy, honestly.
if you're taking
Not even a joke.
yeah, 100%.
If you have a bad kicker, it will make your team worse.
But if you're taking Evan McPherson at 167, you're
Not a
smoking
good
crack.
value.
Yeah, I've had enough with this cocky bullshit. Stop sitting on the sidelines during the halftime
Yeah,
show.
what are you doing? Be with your team, bro.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
And especially if you
Especially in the Super Bowl. Give me a break.
once in a lifetime. Go back and watch it on YouTube. How many times are you going to be in the Super Bowl?
Bro, you really care more about the halftime show than being in the Super Bowl? I don't like that.
I know you're a kicker, but, like, at least absorb it a little bit.
You're on the team. You're making money to be on the team.
Yeah. No more of that cocky bullshit, McPherson. I don't want to see you kicking any 50 yards.
There's really no numbers to back this position up at all, but...
Who cares, bro? It's Evan McPherson. Don't draft him.
Doesn't matter. Sometimes we just shoot from the hip here on the First Inch of Sports
He's on
podcast.
our do not draft list.
Avoid at all costs.
Avoid.
All costs.
So, for your
I'm going to hit you with one last bust, too.
Yeah, hit me with one last.
Cam Akers.
Oh, he's doo-doo.
I don't think he's doo-doo. I just don't think he's as good as where he's going. His ADP is 43. Like, I feel like a lot of drafts will go higher. I feel like the ESPN rankings have him around, like, I think high 20s, low 30s. That's not where I would take a Rams running back.
Rams running backs, 1, never do well.
They always run committees.
2, the injury scares the shit out of me.
Yes.
And, like...
kind of fresh off an Achilles. That's a tough injury to come back
They have one of the best wide receiving cores in the league. Why would they give it to Cam Akers?
Oh, yeah, it's Kupp and Allen Robinson. That's kind of nuts.
And Odell.
Odell's a free agent, and they cut Woods.
I bet you they sign Odell.
Odell tore his ACL in, like, the Super Bowl, bro.
Ooh, yeah.
He's not going to come back until the playoffs, maybe.
You're right.
No one's going to sign him this year.
You're right.
As much as I hate to say it, Odell is one of my favorite football players ever. Maybe my favorite football player ever, honestly.
When he, like, I know he didn't leave the Giants because of...
Not on great terms.
Yeah, but...
Not on great terms.
Odell, if you want to come on the podcast,
please
hit the wall, that'd be sick.
Come on, we'll talk. So, I mean, they still have Darrell Henderson there, who was pretty productive last year.
Definitely.
They drafted a running back in the 5th out of Notre Dame, Kyron Williams.
Never
was pretty
heard of
productive at Notre Dame. He was productive at Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I mean, they always have backs. I'm sure they signed some undrafted dude who I don't know.
And he'll come
He'll
out.
have a game that'll have 3 touchdowns. I'll be like, Sean McVay's a genius.
Because he is. He's one of those smart elves, bro. He's like 5'1", but with the biggest brain of all time.
Yeah. His brain takes up his entire head.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going at 43, the 18th running back off the board, which he might perform, but I just think of some of the upside of some of the other players around that area.
You could take a shot anywhere else than Cam Akers. He's kind of has that. He has a pretty low ceiling.
If you're looking in that range, it's just like, why wouldn't you just take like ETN, who's actually going to be in a? I don't know. I
mean, it's all opinions and it's all.
Yeah, we're just shooting from the hip here.
It's all really just statistical guessing because
you can look back at this in 4 months and we're either going to look great or look like absolute imbeciles.
Yeah, we could be sitting in a mansion in 4 months, being like, "Oh shit,
I
we
won
called
17
Kareem
fantasy
Hunt."
football. Who if you didn't draft Tyler Algier, you're an idiot.
Yeah, for real. He's gonna be the league's #1 scorer, no doubt.
I agree. What's his floor? 90 receptions?
85.
No, we're joking. That was a joke. That's probably not going to happen. If it does,
I'm going closer to 27.
I don't know. I think he's an interesting sleeper pick, though.
He's honestly my #1 guy I'm looking forward to this year.
Well, like as a late round sleeper,
to see how his career unfolds this year. I kind of want to see him run in the league.
Oh yeah,
you know.
I think it's going to be interesting to see if. Well, they also signed what's his name, Darrell Williams.
Darren Williams doesn't scare me though.
I know he's like a good second back, and and Patterson's like 32. He could get hurt. Hate to say it, don't want him to get hurt.
And Algiers, a physical specimen, made it.
Yeah, he's a beast. All right, so that was our Trojan condom busts of the year. Maybe we're right, maybe we're wrong.
Who knows?
That was our fantasy football advice.
Yeah, it was really
We're just fucking around. As we're recording, the Reds just went back to back on the Yankees in the bottom. Up Luis Severino.
Oh my God.
I'm starting to get a little worried. We need a State of the Union, Yankee bias.
Because the Reds.
Yeah, I mean,
it's one thing against the Astros to lose.
Even that Red Sox series, I was like, whatever. They walked us off that one game.
The Reds. There's nothing really even to say here, boys.
Back to back in the bottom of the second, Sevy.
We're down 4-0 right now.
I mean, come back from it, but it's
we're
the
not
Reds.
out of it.
Nowhere near, but we need to score a run or two soon.
It's like, what?
All right, so let's talk about the game last night. What happened with Clay Holmes and the knife?
King Clay?
I mean, he was due for something.
I was not expecting that, buddy. I mean,
not against the Reds. Not against the Reds.
4 runs earned in the 9th inning is pretty sad.
Good.
Especially when we're up 3-0 to the Reds.
Let's see what. He didn't even record an out, I don't think. Yeah, no, he went. didn't get an out, 2 hits, 4 earned runs, and a walk. And I think he hit someone too. I'm pretty sure he hit a run in.
I'm not scared about that. That's uncharacteristic. He's allowed to do that. Holmes.
He gets one more of those.
He's allowed to have a shitter.
And then I'll actually start getting worried about him. But that's such a bad way to lose a game to the fucking Reds.
It's such a bad way to lose a game, man. Ugh, it's like
cold gem, and you just waste it in the top of the 9th.
But let's look on the bright side here.
All right,
Matt Carpenter has been looking like
they need to get him into the lineup a little more.
Stud.
They can't just play him 1 game out of 3 every series.
I think it's a good idea, man. I don't think if you play him every game, he's gonna perform like he
Probably
does.
the numbers won't look as good, but he'll be a productive bat. I guess if you use him as a pinch hitter, we can be like, he has a 240 WRC plus.
The best hitter since Bonds.
yeah. I'm in for that, but he should be in the lineup more probably.
Matt Carpenter,
especially if Hicks is hurt too.
That might have been the smartest move the Yankees have done this year.
Trevino was the smartest move the Yankees have done this year.
Trevino is.
Last year was Clay Holmes. That was Diego Castillo's kind of decent though. Holy Park stinks.
We've been making some moves, like sleeping.
I think we talked about this a little last Yankee bias,
Yeah,
like
but
Wandy, Clay Holmes.
Wandy again.
Now Carpenter is kind of like a legit thing.
No, Carpenter's like actually like
a thing.
Legit.
It's a thing.
It's been more than like a month of this Carpenter like run.
Yeah, no, it's like 100 at bats. It's like a decent sample size.
Because before we filmed last episode, we saw a little power ranking of top 10 power hitters.
Yeah, they had Carpenter 9, and I was like, this is kind of blasphemous.
Yeah, and what?
But maybe they were right.
Yeah, honestly, because
maybe they were right.
The ball. What other Yankees have been playing well? Hicks. Hopefully he's
healthy. I hope he's healthy.
As much as Hicks has been a nuisance to the team, he's been great. He's been playing well.
His May was just so bad, and like after that brutal stretch he had, he's been like honestly very good. I can't really complain.
Was awesome.
He's had some very clutch hits this year.
100%.
So I can't knock Hicks anymore. I'm not gonna knock Hicks anymore until he has another stretch where he's hitting like 110.
Yeah.
But we'll hope that doesn't happen. Gallo's gone.
Yeah, honestly.
They're going to trade him for a bag of chips. They don't give a fuck.
I can't keep standing.
They're going to trade for another outfielder. And if they think Carpenter can legitimately play the outfield sometimes, they're going to do that. I don't
think you put Carpenter out there, but I know that he can play.
But you're going to have...
I'd rather trade for an outfielder.
But you could DH Stanton a lot because of the flexibility you have in the infield.
DH and, like...
I think they're going to call up Oswald Peraza, too, at some point.
He plays second.
I think they want a little more, like, pop out of shortstop.
Yeah,
and IKF has been a little rough with the glove lately, and he was like a defensive wizard metrics-wise the last couple years.
I
don't like that.
I like Stanton in the field when he plays.
I do, but they definitely need to DH him a decent amount. He's a little bit older, and he has an injury history.
But
they need to be careful with him.
His bat is so much better when he plays in the field.
For sure. If they need he needs to be in the field 2 out of every 3 games he plays.
How about this? Every playoff game he should play in the field.
100%, but they will do that in the playoffs because they're not playing every day.
Yeah.
They have off days in between games.
Fair point. Because why wouldn't you?
It's
out there. When he plays the field, he's a different
guy.
guy.
It's not like it's the 17th of a 21 and 20 day stretch, and they're like, let's give Giancarlo a day off.
Yeah, for sure.
What else is
going on?
Like, who are we making a move for? They're making a move. They like to make low key moves at the deadline.
I think
they haven't really gotten
a lot of surprises, honestly. Names we didn't hear about.
I think someone sneaky's going to get dealt, but there's not really the craziest free agent class. Well, there's some very good free agents, but they're not going to get dealt.
It's the obvious ones. It's Happ, Benintendi, Castillo.
Jose Quintana. Some of the Cubbies, probably Contreras.
Most of the Cubs
David
and Pirates.
Robertson's a trade chip.
Yeah.
For like a playoff
Ryan
team.
Reynolds would be awesome.
Maybe they're going to want a king's ransom for him.
If the Yankees,
I think that's kind of bullshit.
I would love the Yankees.
That would be amazing. I'd be so happy, but I don't know if that's real. I don't think it's realistic. They'd want Volpe, and they're not going to do that. No way.
Would you rather give up Volpe, Dominguez, or
the only way? I don't know.
If you had to give up one
of them, Volpe, Domingo, Oswald, Dominguez. Depends on who we're getting, bro.
Yeah, but we're getting that same position. We're getting that same position in return.
Probably Dominguez.
Because center field's like very hard.
Reynolds, Soto. I think, like I said on the last episode, I think Judge is gonna walk. I think the writing's on the wall.
If we win this year, it's a surefire walk for him. Get a ring and dip.
I think it's more likely he stays if we win. But
No. Why? Why would he
I
stay?
don't know, man.
Because I think if we stay, they're less likely to give.
Maybe he gets caught up in all the Yankee lore. He's like, damn, I just won a World Series with the Yankees. Yankee bias.
Yeah.
28.
I mean, you think he'll stay
He
for
could.
29?
They'd be like, well,
30?
they new captain, too. Imagine. He would be a god for the rest of his
The
life.
thing was, the fact that he's
But
not
the
captain,
Yankees would also give him $300 million.
the fact that he's not captain would make him leave, in my opinion.
If they re-sign him,
It's
they're gonna.
disrespectful.
If they re-sign him, they're
It's
gonna.
disrespectful.
They have to re-sign him first.
Okay, if you say so, but
They didn't name Jeter captain until like 02, 03, I don't think. They waited a while on Jeter.
who's the captain right now?
I don't think they have
That's what
one.
I'm saying.
The last captain was Jeter.
How can you just
They
not have a
went
captain?
Mattingly, Jeter, and then there hasn't been one since. And the one before Mattingly, I forget. I think the last one before Mattingly was Thurman Munson. And I'm sure there's been ones that I'm forgetting, but I'm pretty sure that's the
R.I.P.
last
Thurman.
4 or 5. Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. It's like one a decade usually, maybe.
Yeah, I hope he stays.
That's a pretty
I
elite
cross my
class of
fingers.
Yankee players to be included in.
If-
Lou Gehrig was the first Yankee captain, it's like Lou Gehrig, Munson, Mattingly, Jeter.
If Judge walks, the only person I will be okay with is Soto.
Well, if they're letting Judge walk, they're not stupid. They have a bunch of money and they're gonna try and make a move.
But I'm saying anybody
They
else
have a
in the
stacked farm system.
anybody else in the league, I'm pissed.
And you also have to think about the side that he's 31 years old, bro.
yeah. And he'll
Do you want to commit 9 years to him realistically?
You want a 42-year-old DH Aaron Judge?
Well, yeah, no, not really.
Exactly.
I don't want another like A-Rod contract.
And it's guaranteed to be it.
I know.
A-Rod's a better baseball player than.
But the thing is, we're giving up Volpe if we trade for Soto. And more. We're probably giving up like Volpe and Dominguez and like a
Big whoop.
good pitching prospect
Big
and
whoop.
more.
Big whoop. I wouldn't even blink.
And
an
then
eye.
we're gonna have to give him like $400 million for 12 years or some shit.
Big whoop. I'm not paying that money. Let Cashman worry about
I'd even
that.
be fit to just because he's like he'd be like 24. I'd be fit to just give him like
Give him.
5-6 years and give him another chance of free agency if he's into that.
I
But
would-
he probably wants like 18 years,
I'll be like
550 million.
18 years, $1 billion.
He's gonna get $500 million probably.
He'll be the first $500 million.
What did he turn down? 13,425. That's insane.
Judge
That's an
might get
insane
that
amount of money to turn down, listeners.
I wouldn't turn that shit down.
Yeah, but do you also want to be in the Nationals? Probably not.
Oh no, that's definitely why.
No, it's
He
definitely a
did
big reason why. If the Yankees offered him that, he might take it.
He should go to the Yankees. That's all
I
I
would
gotta say.
cry. I think.
I would
That would be
rather
one of the
him over
greatest days of
Judge.
my life.
I'd rather him than Judge.
100%, obviously.
It's not even a question.
When you factor everything into it, yes.
Age,
If you're gonna commit that much money to an outfielder, Soto makes so much more sense.
health.
I mean, the
Average.
production's fairly similar across the board. Maybe not power numbers.
But-
Soto in Yankee Stadium, I think, would be a safe bet to hit 30-plus homers, maybe more, and have like a 900-plus OPS, similar to what Judge
And
a
he's
good
gonna
year for
get on
Judge is.
base a lot.
More than Judge.
A lot more than Judge, probably.
Yes. And he's also in a better lineup, so he'll see better. Like he's on the Nationals, who's protection. Josh Bell's good. They're gonna trade him for a low A prospect.
Josh Bell's an interesting prospect.
That's an interesting trade deadline guy. But
Because
the Yankees are not a fit for him. I think he could get shipped somewhere.
No, but whatever teams he goes to, I think he's gonna excel.
Yeah, he's been mashing this year. He's been very good this year.
And a switch hitter always is
Switching first baseman is noise.
Yeah,
It's noise.
100%. What does he catch with? Lefty or what does he throw with? Right or left?
I believe right.
Yeah, because it's tough to.
If my memory serves me correctly.
No, it would make sense.
Yeah. But that's a little bit of Yankee bias. Maybe a little bit of panic button. We'll see what happens
I
within
think
like the
it's too
next
early.
week or so.
We're
It's
still
too
up
early.
by 12 games.
More, we're up by
13,
14.
14, yeah.
But like then we don't want to go into Boston losing a fucking playing Boston this weekend, losing a fucking series to Cincinnati after they just split with us the way they
Yeah,
did.
we'll
That's
get
not
fucking-
good
we'll get
news.
rolled.
We'll lose 2 out of 3 minimum. That's
Yeah.
not the way you do it going into
Boston
the All-Star
always
break.
plays us fucking well.
Always. Yankee Red Sox game, we always play Boston well too, though.
Yeah, but
That's the thing. Yankee Red Sox games are always more often than not incredibly close. There was like the Yankees won a close game, the Red Sox won a close game, and there was one blowout each way.
Yo, you see the new Jeter doc that came out?
It didn't come out yet. I think it comes out the
Like
17th.
that-
It comes out next week.
Dude, all I've heard is insane shit from that.
7 parts, I think.
And
Yeah,
and
that's Yankee bias. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna cry like a little baby watching that.
for
fucking
real,
thing.
bro. Like that's gonna be a
That's gonna be sick.
trip back to my childhood.
Yeah, Jeter's a goat.
Go.
All right.
Goated.
That's some Yankee bias for you. And this was your next episode of the First and Inches Sports
Thank you
Podcast.
for
I'm Michael
watching.
LeBron. Thank you, guys.
Like and subscribe, please.
Yes, do it. Hit the buttons. Hit a
It
couple
helps
buttons.
the algae.
Helps the algae. We want to make some money, maybe.
Yeah, we're trying to make.
We
a little
looked at the
better.
analytics this week. We made 11 cents.
It's pretty good.
Pretty sick. Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Google AdSense. We'll be back. We'll see you soon.
Peace out.
Peace.